Hi and welcome to another narration presented by yours truly, Cryptids Roost. Please be so kind as to throat punch the like button and smack the ass of the subscription button as well. And remember to tap the notification bell and then select all. That way you'll receive all notifications each time I upload a new video. Oh, and don't forget to share the video far and wide. This will all help with YouTube's algorithm and will help promote the channel more. If you enjoy listening to the following story, be sure to pop over to the author's Reddit profile and drop them a line, or even give them a glowing review. I'm sure they would appreciate it. The link to their Reddit profile will be below in the description. So grab your coffee, sit back and enjoy the show. And don't forget, where fear is, happiness is not. Camp Wanahee, Part 7. This fantastic story is written by Wanahee, a wonderful author over on Reddit's NoSleep subreddit. Hey everyone! So, I've had to give the pliers to John McCain. Everyone who still has their nails, including myself, find their presence just a little too enticing. He still wouldn't give me back the axe, which peeves me off. He and Tutor seem to get along really well though. They spend a lot of time hotboxing. So I guess that's a silver lining at the end of the world. Anyways, back to where we left off. The faceless that stood before us was small, maybe 4 feet tall. I knew immediately after all I had seen, this was most certainly a kid who had undergone this transformation. It had the telltale other features, the longer digits, the skeletal frame, and the features covered with skin. There was something wrong though. As we stood there, seconds stretching to hours as adrenaline flooded my brain, I realised what it was. The screaming continued elsewhere in the cave, but this faceless didn't make any noise at all. It didn't scream. It didn't breathe. The slight twitching of its fingers were all that moved as it stood there. The mouth of the parasite quivered. I could see the grey of its tongue writhe against the stomach before it slithered between the lips, stretching out. I could hear the slime that dripped from it patter onto the ground, even from this distance. The tongue began to move through the air as the creature started moving towards us. I saw light flashing on and off rapidly to our right, where Maria was pointing her light. I turned to see what was going on and my blood grew cold. There was a second faceless moving in our direction. This was larger than the other, larger than the faceless we had known. Whoever the parasite had taken control of had to have been immense, easily over 7 feet tall. It had to hunch over as it moved forward to avoid the branches, which gave it a terribly predatory look. Its tongue was out, waving and tapping off the trees as it moved towards us. We'd been too loud, and it was starting to look like that had been a fatal mistake, letting our emotions get the better of us. We had drawn a couple of them here. I saw Coot slowly reach for his shotgun again. Marcus had pulled out the dagger and had turned to face the larger of the two. We began backing up as quietly as we possibly could. We had no way of knowing if anything we had would kill these things before they had a chance to eviscerate us. My mind screamed at me to run away. I knew that was a stupid idea. They would chase me down easily, but there was no way we could win. Coot had found time and time again that no magical, eldritch or alchemical equipment that he could get his hands on before would stop the original faceless. I doubted what he had now would do anything. We couldn't fight this. Maria held the rifle, aiming between the two, trying to figure out which would be the best target. As soon as someone did anything, it would be the end. They were too close, and even being as quiet as possible still made no noise. They were getting closer. If we ran, they would chase us, and there would be no way we could lose them in this silent cavern. No, there had to be something else. We had to distract them. I whipped my pack around and unzipped it. Something loud, I thought. I need something loud. Then I found it, a mason jar of clear liquid. I turned and chucked the moonshine as far as I could to the right, managing to hit an infested tree about 30 feet away. The two faceless immediately spun around and took off in the direction in a disturbingly silent frenzy. The clacking of their bony feet receded with them. The other three stood in shock silence as I shouldered my pack. "Go!" I hissed to them. We began moving quickly ahead, trying to get as much distance as possible while they were distracted. We began checking our surroundings much more carefully as we went, not wanting to come across any other quiet ones. The screaming of the original faceless echoed through the cavern. We had travelled easily a couple of miles since we had entered this cavern. It was beginning to feel like we had somehow entered an endless underground nightmare, flesh tree forest. Since no one felt like talking, it gave me time to think. I certainly didn't want to, but I couldn't shake what Coot had said. I've always ignored thinking about Ruby, thinking about that night. Now I was flooded with memories. I remembered watching the stars, the smell of her shampoo, the warmth of her body, and the feeling of her kiss. I remember something was off, something that worried us, the look of fear in her blue eyes, a shape in the darkness gliding towards us. I shoved those thoughts away. This wasn't the time for that. Coot was right. I needed to face it, but I couldn't do it right now. I could feel the memories clawing, wishing to run wild in my mind, to claim it as their own. There was a part of me wanted to give in and let it drive me to madness, to insanity. Perhaps that would be a relief. That possible relief sounded so tempting. Even so, I resisted and focused on keeping quiet as we moved forward. Time and distance meaning nothing in this void of blackness and trees. It wasn't much longer before the trees started to thin. The thinning trees gave way to a clearing. Our flashlights revealed something that caught all of us, even Coot, off guard. There was a Victorian-era home in front of us. Beautiful without being over the top in size or style. The grey-blue of the paint of its exterior and the white of the trimming had begun to fade and peel badly, though the structure still seemed to be in mostly good shape. The front door, scratched all to hell and hanging lopsidedly from a single hinge, was wide open. "Of course there would be some creepy old house here," Maria whispered. Coot, Marcus and I gave her a confused look. She just shook her head and approached the house. We followed after her. From the doorway our lights revealed an entrance that was in disarray, with a couple of rooms and hallways that branched off. A stairway could be seen further down. We stood around the doorway. "All right," I whispered. "What should we do?" Coot was already going inside. "Coot!" I hissed. He turned to look at me. "We need to go," he said as he turned to look at me with contempt. "Or have you forgotten about the fact that the world is going to end if we don't find this traveller? Come on." He continued inside, shotgun in hand, checking each room as he passed them. The three of us shared a look. I just shook my head. "Don't go far from each other. Try to stay on the same floor." They nodded and we entered the house. The floorboards creaked dully as we made our way inside. The smell of age and mildew hung in the air. Most of the furniture and decorations in the rooms we passed were strewn about and in various stages of disrepair. Claw marks stretched across walls and furniture. Broken glass and knick-knacks covered the floor. The place looked like it had been nice once, but age and facelesses had taken a toll on it. This was all incredibly disappointing. It looked to be a normal house. Sure, it was in a weird as hell place, but there was nothing that screamed, "A trans-dimensional being lives here." Aside from the very old furnishings and decor, it was just a house. I sighed as I made my way up the stairs, figuring that there wouldn't be anything else worth noting up here. Perhaps just a bedroom or two. I didn't know where Coot had gone. I assumed he had likely found a basement of some sort. I didn't much care at this point. If he wanted to go off by himself and die, that was fine by me. The landing revealed several rooms, one being a bedroom, as destroyed as the rest of the place. There was another room that appeared to have been a reading room of some sort, judging by the destroyed chairs and books. The room at the end of the hallway, however, quickly drew my attention. The door was closed, and the sheer number of scratches on the door and walls surrounding it was excessive. Everything was so torn up that I was amazed the door was still in one piece. I went up to it and tried to push on it, but it didn't budge at all. That was surprising given how much of it had been torn away. I figured a stiff breeze would just make it fall to pieces. Having no better option, and against my better judgment of opening up ominous doors, I tried the doorknob, but it wouldn't budge. It was then that I felt what I could only describe as some sort of presence within it, like it was alive. Touching it caused us to become connected in some way. I had this weird feeling of vertigo as I could sense the presence in my mind. I heard nothing, but got the sense that the presence was verifying that I was not a faceless or any other dimensional being. I got an impression of approval from the doorknob, and I heard a soft click. I turned the knob again and the door opened. Walls were lined with shelves that had various books and objects covered in dust. A large hutch stood behind a stately looking desk. The glass of the hutch was obscured by the dust, so I wiped it away from one of the windows with a shirt sleeve. Inside I saw glass vials filled with various liquids, the skull of some small creature with fangs and curving horns, a sphere that glowed a dull blue, and the other things I couldn't really identify. Marcus and Maria came in a few moments later. "Whoa!" I heard Marcus whisper. "Was this her study?" "Looks like it. I think the answers we want are in here," I said, scanning the shelves. Maria walked up to the desk. It had an old lamp on it, a few writing implements, and a couple of books. One of them grabbed her attention. It was a simple leather book, no ornamentation, no gilding, not even a title. The way that it was placed right in the middle of the desk, however, made it stand out from the others. She came around and sat in the chair, opening the book and flipping through its pages. The writing in it was impressively neat. "It's a journal," Maria said quietly. "Oh, that's great," Marcus said as he came over from one of the shelves. "Maybe it'll tell us what happened to her. Go to the end, read the last entry." Maria nodded and began flipping through. The handwriting began to get sloppier as we continued. We made it to the blank pages and backed up to where the last entry started. The handwriting was nothing like it had been before. It looked like they had stopped caring and were just rushing to get their words out. It took us a minute to decipher the words. May 27th, 1911. I have been unsuccessful in stopping the infection. I have lost complete use of my legs, spread to the elbow on my right arm, and is making its way up my neck. I now have to write with my left as my right arm is having difficulty moving as it should. The infection fights against me. I have had to crawl wherever I go now, as it will refuse to let me use my legs. I haven't left my home in years. I can feel my muscles atrophying. My feet burn as well. I believe that the parasite is consuming the flesh there, or atrophying it rapidly in some way. Hard to tell. I have tried everything I know of to kill this thing. It has taken nearly 15 years for it to get to this point, but nothing has stopped it. Even the plane I contracted it from had no way of fighting it. None of the people I have contacted brought anything I could use. I don't know what to do now. It has increased how quickly it spreads. I suspect I have maybe a month left before I will have next to no control of my body. I have always been scared to death, but now I am faced with two options. I can continue to live my life, but as a slave to this parasite, in hopes that someone might be able to kill it and free me from it. Or I can end my life now. Regardless, my body will still be used by it. Others may come to find me. I hope they stay far away. To whoever finds this book, I hope you find a way to end this. Good luck. Alright, I have to end that here. I've got to go watch some of the kids. They keep wanting to let the one of blood and flesh rise. We've had to stop several of them from ritually sacrificing each other or counsellors that they've overpowered. I think we might have a way to stop the summoning soon though. We've been brainstorming a plan. I'll tell you guys about it when I get the chance. Don't forget, if you enjoyed that story, be sure to pop over to the author's Reddit profile and drop them a line or even give them a glowing review. I'm sure they really would appreciate it. The link to their Reddit profile will be below in the description. And don't forget to check out the merch store. The link will be in the description and also in the video thumbnail. And if you'd like an honourable mention, send in a snapshot of yourself with your purchase and I'll feature it in one of the videos. Have you written a creepypasta story you would like me to narrate? Have you had any cryptid sightings, paranormal or supernatural encounters, or even had a creepy or terrifying situation you would like to share? Well, I now have my very own subreddit community where you can submit your stories. The link for that is also in the thumbnail as well as below in the description. You can submit your stories there, or you can send them to cryptidsroost@gmail.com. If you wish to remain anonymous, that's fine with me. Now I also have a Facebook group, Twitter, Reddit and Discord. And if you'd like to support the channel and help make it grow, my PayPal is paypal.me/cryptidsroost. If you wish to remain anonymous, that's fine with me. Now I also have a Facebook group, Twitter, Reddit and Discord. And if you would like to support the channel and help make it grow, my PayPal is paypal.me/cryptidsroost. And any and all donations would be gratefully received. Again, that will also be below. And don't forget, where fear is, happiness is not.